about. I mean, there's so much that came out, like movie-wise, TV-wise. First off, how you boys doing? Thanks for joining the show. I'm glad everyone's here again. Nick and Moses not getting to the episode this week. They are taking a little bit of a leave of absence this week. So just some good old Chicago boys who've got to go back many, many years. And yeah, man, we're trying to. It's a nice conversation about movies and TV. So I think what came out this week that was like, oh, Megan came out I think a week or two ago, and that's been kind of like,
Before we get into all that, all right, now that we're recording everything, we have a special guest, guys. Thank you for again coming and listening to our podcast. But we have a special guest, my homie, since I've known since third grade, been a pain in the ass ever since. But great guy, be around, loyal as fuck, and honestly, a very, very unique soul of mind. He goes by Maha now. So Maha, go ahead and introduce yourself, say what you're about, and maybe experiences you have within the entertainment industry and everything like that. Let the viewers know who you are.
Lovely. Well, firstly, thank you for the lovely introduction. That was nice.
that's pretty good, Joe.
Right.
Thank you.
Got a special over here.
Always, you know me.
So yeah, like my friend said, my name is Maha, last name Hemingway. I'm a writer, director, creative director, filmmaker, editor, and all that fun stuff in between, based out of the South Side of Chicago. What else did you what else what else was I supposed to say?
Experiences, like things you might have done within the industry.
Oh yeah,
Your projects you worked on.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I got my start more or less, I'd say professionally, probably in around 2018, 2019, getting on sets, PA'd a lot for like those Chicago shows, the Dick Wolf shows, the NBC shows. Then, I had been writing for a while, probably since 2016, dropped out of college and wanted to just figure out, what I wanted to do. Originally, it was music, and then I kind of was just like, I don't like writing music anymore, and that turned into, well, you've always been good at writing stories, and so, started writing screenplays, tried to get some stuff going. Didn't know how expensive filmmaking was at the time, and then, lucky for me, around 2020. I got around a lot of friends who went to Columbia and DePaul, started getting on their sets, doing a lot of assistant director work. Started to do a little production design, and in 2020, 2022, in 2021, I started my own production, and we had to take a year off, and we eventually wrapped the next year. um, so yeah, that was really nice. Wrapped my first project, wrapped my second project last year. They're both in post right now. I'm actually I started a creative directing label last year as well, and that's been really cool, just working with artists in Chicago. So I'm actually shooting my first music video for my company this weekend. That's going to be really fun, and yeah, we're just doing a lot of stuff to pull the filmmaker and the creative director music shit all together. I could talk a long time about all the shit that I got in the works, but yeah, that's the summary.
Awesome, brother. That's so cool. I didn't know you're doing your first video, man, for your company, man. That's awesome. I'd love to hear that.
Yes, sir. I'm good. After this, I definitely want to hear about your first project you did, because we were in talks about that back in a while ago. But yeah,
I want to hear about both.
Yeah,
I want to hear about both.
but let's get to it. A lot of movies and shows and a lot of just things within the entertainment industry has happened recently. You were talking about a new movie that came out recently called Megan. Megan.
All you Key and Peele fans get that reference.
Yeah. Megan, your jacket. Anyways, yeah, Megan came out. You saw that, Doug, right?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm finally catching up all the movies I missed when I was sick for like a couple of weeks. So yeah, I saw Megan this past Monday, and I saw Babylon, which I loved last weekend. And also, TV wise, I was very impressed with the Last of Us pilot. Like, I was very, very impressed. Again, I have no history with the games whatsoever. I know about them through Joel, but I never played them before. And wow, man, that first episode, like the writing, the direction, the production design, everything, I was floored, and I'm very excited to see what the season goes through, going forward. So yeah, definitely a lot of people talking about it like on Monday after the show debuted. But holy shit, yeah, this is the show that I'm going to be definitely watching with great tension throughout the whole season.
Yeah, since the last time we did a podcast, I've watched a few things. I watched the Tulsa King show, which is on Amazon. Whole first season's all done. Really great
And
show
Paramount
with
Plus.
yes, Paramount Plus. Thank my brother for that shit. um, uh, I watched The Menu that was on HBO Max. Being the residential nerd here in the podcast, I did, of course, watch The Last of Us. I did play the first and second one. I have always been hyped for that game, and I love the game very much. And I do have a lot to say about the show.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm very
Yeah, I'm
excited
curious.
about it. Yes. We also have to talk about things within the industry and other things not so great. Like the for a new record being broken recently by the Velma show, and also an actor. I forget his name. We'll come to that eventually. Anything you might want to talk about this podcast, Dom?
You're doing it again, friend. It's Maha, but
Maha, sorry.
it's okay. I know it's an adjustment.
Strike
I've
two,
heard,
Joe. Strike two.
I've heard of some of these things in like skating pass. I know I didn't play The Last of Us, but I did. I think at some point I watched like the cinematic footage. When you watch the cutscenes.
Yeah.
So I'm relatively familiar with it. I do fuck with Pedro Pascal. That's my dude. Because
Man
I saw the
making
first season.
waves.
Yeah, like the first season in fucking Narcos with him. Oh my god. Oh, what a
killed it.
yeah. Also, shouts out to Narcos. I watched every single episode of both of those shows recently.
First season's awesome.
Wait, are you guys Star Wars fans? Have you guys?
Yeah,
I don't want
Mandalorian,
to
right?
Anything. Yes.
Oh yeah, he's the
Mandalorian.
right?
He is the Mandalorian. Yes, he's the actor who plays the Mandalorian. The one that is carrying the young one, Grogu. Yes, he is the Mandalorian as well. He's killing it, man. Like I said, he's making waves.
He was in a Nicolas Cage movie. Yeah, he really
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah.
There's also
I didn't see it, yeah.
what was it? The Englishman, the second movie. Yes, he was one of
he was
the
in Kingsman.
statesmen. Yeah,
he was
Kingsman.
in Kingsman too. Holy shit, you're right.
He was.
He's number two. He's one of the statesmen. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, he's been working. I feel like he's a classic example too of like when people in Hollywood try to tell you like, oh, after a certain age, like you can't do that. I'm like, he's definitely in his like 40s, maybe. Like, how old is Pedro Pascal? Because he's definitely
in his 40s.
Yeah, he's definitely in his 40s. He's
47.
older.
Well, let's say he's pushing.
Oh
pushing
shit,
50.
Dude!
Yeah,
But he's
was in Wonder
showing it. But what I like about him too is that he now has been making a name for himself. Besides what we know, a lot of Hollywood is, like a lot of the young actors and like the big, we already have the big actors that we grew up with, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, all those, wonderful people.
Denzel.
But, a lot of the young actors, no hate towards them, are all coming from being their kids or something, or Disney Channel, which again, no hate. They're all doing wonderful work. But like, he's, breath of fresh air, someone new, someone we haven't seen, well, not new, but like just, making a name for himself that came not from what everyone else came from, making his own way.
Well, I wouldn't say that was a general statement, but I like to a degree, I definitely agree. Like there are quite a few of these younger actors who are nepo babies, and not to shade, because a lot of them are fucking fantastic for sure.
Yeah, like Jen Ortega.
Yeah, I didn't know she was a nepo baby.
Yeah, she was a Disney Channel. She was used to done some Disney.
Oh
shows.
yeah. I was talking about nepo babies, but yeah, definitely her. Definitely a lot of the kids who were on Disney like are obviously doing crazy things. I mean, look at fucking Zendaya on Euphoria. Like it might be you feel me? Like we can complain about the writing or whatever, but universally we all agree she acts her ass off on that show.
Fuck yeah, 100%.
So it's just like, yeah, it's interesting seeing the new landscape of like acting because like as we know, back in the day, it was really just like one way to get in. Like you had to go the fucking theater route, or you just kind of had to like hope that you got discovered walking down the street. And now it's just like there's so many ways. Obviously, there's the Nepo way, which cool. There's still the theater way. A lot of people are starting to transition from theater or crossover from screen to theater, which I think is amazing. What else is there? There's the fucking there's like the social media way now. Like there are people who create their own things on social media and then companies come to them, which I think is fantastic. If because that's the thing I'm kind of doing right now too. So I really like how the industry isn't just pigeonholed to one system now. Like you can kind of get in, make your own way, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. Also, the uncommon way, WWE. You know what I'm saying? Bautista, The Rock, a couple other.
John Cena.
John Cena, who has become a legend as well.
Oh yeah, but their big three is hard, like because people, and I think with that too, like people forget that like a bunch of people tried it and a lot of them failed before The Rock. Like Hulk Hogan tried, Stone Cold tried, Triple H tried, like hell of them tried. Like
Andre the Giant.
Andre and Roddy Piper I think, were the only two who were successful because Roddy Piper was in the what's the fucking movie? What's the movie? Where he had the shotgun and the glasses.
Oh, They Live. They Live.
Yeah, Roddy Piper was in They Live, and obviously Andre was in The Princess Bride, and those were big.
And a few other movies, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, but no one obviously did it until like Dwayne came and just fucked the game up, and then he kicked the door in for like Bautista and then John Cena. So it's nice to see all three of them. Like when I started seeing, but like Bautista outside of just like I'm the big Jack dude roles, that's where I was like, because have y'all seen Glass Onion?
Yeah, we did.
Like he was fucking fantastic in that. Everybody oh my god.
He takes acting very seriously, which is really great. He takes it a little bit differently than The Rock. Definitely, I love The Rock. He does great work, but Bautista takes his work just in a different stride. And also, at first, I'm admit, like I wasn't too sure about Bautista, as an actor, but seeing him come a long way and seeing him, he's gonna be in another movie very soon, which.
He was in the first Dune. He's about to be like a more prominent role in the second one too.
Oh yeah, he was really good in Dune, and also in Blade Runner 2049. His small role in that movie is awesome.
Oh yeah,
really good.
He does such great characters.
Yeah, I forgot.
What's that end of the movie we were talking about the other day, Doug? They'll be in.
Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin. That one seems very interesting. Yeah, he does a great, Drax as well. Everyone knows Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I was like his biggest role, his first big role, right?
Big role that caught everyone's attention. Yes, but he was a few other things before. Yeah.
His first leading role was just in that Zack Snyder Army of the Dead. Like that was his first leading role.
Oh, that's right.
He was supposed to be in the Suicide Squad, but then I think it was between. I don't want to say he was supposed to be Peacemaker. I don't want to say that, but James Gunn did write a specific role for him, and he was like, it was between being a part of an all-star cast or being a part of like a lead. And obviously, I mean, it's hands down, it's a fucking leading role.
Check.
Yes, sir.
And in a big Zack Snyder movie, like it just made sense career wise. So yeah, I think I really love seeing like people's journeys. Like you said, Joe, like watching like WWE and as like a child and seeing like these three men who we just talked about and now seeing where they are. Like you couldn't predict the shit. Like people try to be like, oh, Rock is gonna be superstars. Like you're fucking lying. Like
if we travel back into the past and told everyone that the person that they love to watch on a Saturday night that says you smell what the Rock is cooking, it's gonna be one of the biggest actors on the fucking planet, who also, by the way, is gonna own his own tequila company. Fucking, they would look at us.
The tequila is so good.
Oh my god,
it's very smooth.
I love it. Man. It's
like,
so
what?
good. So good.
Smooth tequila.
It's just like, but I've been listening to. It was somebody who I listened to who was just like study people's journeys, like really just look at people's journeys because that inspires you. Like we said about Pedro. Pedro's been around for a while, but we didn't really start seeing him probably to like 5, 10 years ago at most.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and now he's a fucking leading man on Disney and he's a fucking leading man on HBO. Like,
Yes, sir.
and his career didn't start busting into the 40s. So it's like people try to tell you, okay, you're 25, you're 30, just give it up. Like, no, fuck that. If you really want to do that, keep doing it because there are proven fucking studies that show that it pays off.
Yeah, same way
100%.
with what's his name? Mark Ruffalo, right? The guy who played the Hawk? Is that his
Mark
name?
Ruffalo kind of had like he got. I want to say he had a little bit
He
earlier than
he
the
no,
40s.
he started acting way before that, but he didn't get the attention like he did until the Avengers.
Yeah, no, that's
I
fair.
disagree. He had more of like he was like the rom com guy for a while. Like he
Yeah,
was
he was
like
in 13 going on 30, and that was in
yeah that
04.
and a few other
Oh, I
movies or even
forget about that.
what's that
But I
movie? It's
feel
so good. Jim
but
Carrey's best movie, Eternal Sunshine. Like he was in that. I can't get him a lot
He
of clout
was
for
in
that movie too.
yeah, I
Yeah,
but
forgot about
like what
that.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is he didn't get put into the spotlight like he
You're
is
talking about
now,
like
is what I'm saying.
attention.
Like he
Got
like truly known, not just by just a few, just by like people that pay attention. It'd be like he was in that other movie. Yeah, what's his name? Like nah, like
if we're
now
talking
he's
about
like
household
Mark.
name shit, is that what you're talking about? Like his household name?
Yes, like a household name.
Yeah,
see
like
that.
I see where you're coming from because like when I think about Mark Ruffalo, I will say like when I when I first saw the Avengers, I knew him from 13 going on 30 because that was the only movie
Yeah,
that I
same.
could reference in 20 fucking 12. But now going back and seeing his career, I'm like, oh, he was in Shutter Island. He was
Oh,
in
yep.
fucking
Hmm.
Zodiac. He was like one of the main people in Zodiac. He was Collateral with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise.
Great movie.
Like, so he has some roles, and like you said, Eternal Sunshine, Doug. But like you like, I agree with you, Joe. Like his career definitely went to a different stratosphere once he became the wholeheartedly. Like,
Yeah,
and I think it's too like I really like looking at people's careers of seeing like, okay, I saw where you were grinding, and I saw your success, but then I saw where superstardom came in.
Mm.
Like, and this is relevant, but because again, my company Black Lily, we're working with like musicians too, so like just like creative director musicians. So a thing that I've had to study is like a musician's journey, and somebody who I looked at recently was like Ariana Grande because like
Mm.
she's like fucking superstar, like you say her name anyway, people knows, but like going to your thing earlier, Joe, about Disney, she was a Nickelodeon baby, as we all know, and so I was looking at that, I was just like, oh, okay, cool, like looking at her from album one to currently, and I'm like, oh, I see that moment where you went from everybody knows you to like the whole world knows you, and it's just
exactly.
interesting to see people's formula of like, okay, cool, like you were popular here, and then you had that one song, that one interview, that one moment where it was like, I like her, and now fucking you get 2 billion streams on a song, or
Right. It like Chance the Rapper, Chicago-born, rapper who was big in Chicago and probably a few other places, but then eventually blew up, you
mm-hmm.
know. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but not anyway. I don't want to get soapbox.
Dude.
Uh, I want to talk about one big thing, a record that has not been broken in many years, which is done by the new show Velma. That show has beaten Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Dragon Ball Z has the worst show ever. They beat both those live action movies. They have the worst rating. They have
Wait, what do you
beaten a new
when you say
record.
beat? When you say what do you mean by beat?
So Dragon Ball Z has had the worst like movie rating on like IMDb for the longest time ever because everyone hates that movie.
Oh, are you saying
Velma,
Dragon Ball movie?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
live
live action
Okay,
action.
movie. You know
you
what
were
The
I'm
saying
saying?
awful
For Jesse
Shyamalan one.
Pinkman has Goku. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
oh
god.
no, that's not fucking Jesse Pinkman. That's Jimmy from Shameless.
Oh
Are you
my god.
sure? Is it Jimmy or is
Yeah,
it
I was
Jesse? I
pressing.
thought it was Jesse.
I remember if Aaron Paul was fucking Goku. No, that was Jimmy.
yeah, no, yeah. It was from
Oh
Shameless.
shit, true. Yeah, that
Yeah, it
And
is
was
Fiona
him.
from Velma. Talk about whitewash.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Man.
But yes, Velma has a lower rating than that Dragon Ball Z movie and Avatar.
Yeah, so
Older
Dragon
though.
Ball that live action is a 2.5 on IMDb, which you'd be very proud of.
And
And
Velma
then
has like a 1 point what
I'm checking right
5, I think.
now. I think it's a 1.5. Let me see what that awful M Night Shyamalan Airbender was.
Yeah, it's a
It's
Um,
higher
1.3
than
on
the
IMDb.
Dragon Ball Z movie,
yeah,
for
so
sure.
Last Airbender has a very generous 4.0 if you ask me. And and now yeah,
I would at least gave
yikes.
it a 3.
1.3 is for Velma. Yikes.
Oh my yeah.
1 point. It's going lower the more episodes that they release
And the
because
audience rate is a 1.3 on as well.
Rotten
Jesus.
Tomato, the critics are being
When
nice.
check
She has like a 55, but the audience rating is a
a
6.
6.
Yeah, I see that
It's
shit.
A
a
6.
But
6.
what's hilarious is this is a classic example of people watching to hate.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because this shit already got renewed for season 2. So I've been hearing all this shit talking about it. But it's been green light after what, 2 fucking episodes for a second season?
Yeah, one
Yeah.
of
No.
HBO's
Well,
like
here's the thing.
biggest
Here's
HBO Max's like biggest animation like viewership ever, which is hilarious.
here's the thing. A lot of people were excited for the show. A lot of people. They weren't too excited about Norville. Uh, but
Normal.
they a lot of people were excited about the show. A lot of people liked Mindy Kaling. They wanted to see the
She's great, right?
the
Her
yeah
show, The Sex Life of College Girls, I fucks with that
Great
show.
show.
It's a
yeah
great show.
she's a
Like,
great writer, and so a lot of people were excited, especially adding diversity to the Scooby Gang
right.
and
You
to
got
see
Indiana
their
Jones.
origin story.
Yeah.
And then it was released, and it was a fucking disaster.
Yeah, I gotta watch an episode. Oh, and I gotta bring up after we talk about this, I gotta bring up another hot topic of a show I just watched today. Um, but yeah, I gotta watch this episode because I don't want to like. I usually don't talk to like
So
that I've never seen, but
Same
right.
here.
the clips I've seen and just like the things I've read is just so universally hated, and I'm like, damn, is it really that bad? Like,
But it doesn't matter what you know political party you go for, whatever. On both spectrums, it is hated. Oh my goodness, and
like somebody says like far left or something like that, like to where it's like cringe. I heard that.
dude. The a lot of the issues, I'll point out the issues that a lot of people have with it, and which is that obviously the show is trying to show diversity, body positivity, stuff like that, but then a lot of it is white race jokes, you know what I mean, making fun of white people. Obviously, the comedy is very stale. People had literally said the only time that they laughed at it was in a section where they're in a bathroom and Daphne's trying to like say some words and keeps getting interrupted by flushing, um, which is bad if that's the only thing that you laughed at. For the body positivity part, where that's they make was it Fred is a giant man child,
He's
and for
a
like
giant crowd though. Like,
he no he's been a douche. He's been a
yeah,
likable douche, but not a man child.
his leadership skills were always in question for me personally.
Well, yeah, because we grew up. Why the fuck would you split up? You know what I mean?
It
Like
was
that
always
type of shit.
it was like if you and Daphne want to go fuck it like over here, that's fine. But don't go telling us to
Yeah.
split up every damn time when we caught up in the same situation, bro. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But he apparently has a very tiny penis, and they talk about it like
oh wow,
constantly and make
oh
fun of
wow,
him for it.
kids.
Yeah,
Okay. I thought this was for the
yeah.
kids.
I thought it was a kid show
No,
too, and I
it
saw the
is
rating was
not.
TVMA, and I'm like, I thought it was a kid
Yeah.
show. Like I truly thought it was a kid
Also,
show.
Yeah,
they
you
got
start
rid
talking,
of
like, oh,
they
this is out the window.
they got rid of two iconic characters, which is Shaggy and Scooby Doo, and now
Yeah,
all we have is Norville, who hates
Wait,
drugs.
wait. Time out. There's no Scooby in this show.
There's
so
no Scooby.
I
What?
came across like an article that says something about like basically they creatively chose to not have Scooby there to age the characters up, but then also HBO and Warner Brothers, they were like, yeah, no, the dog's off limits because of licensing issues.
Oh,
Mhm.
I see.
I don't really know the details of that because I thought that they owned the dog. Maybe they just don't want
Yeah,
to pay money. I don't fucking know.
Scooby
But
Doo is a
that's
They
weird.
wanted to make an adult, Scooby thing. They're like, look, you can have the four other characters. You can't have Scooby because that's the one all the kids pay attention to. Scooby Doo. It's
yeah,
named after
they
him.
don't want to tarnish Scooby Doo like legacy with this adult content. Maybe that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
So
You're
there's
right.
that.
It's
But
it's dog
also,
due to the licensing issues. Yeah.
we also don't have
Wow.
Shaggy. We have Norville.
So who the fuck is
Oh,
Norville?
wait. Norville
Shaggy.
is Shaggy's replacement who hates drugs. He
Oh,
hates
he's black.
drugs. He's black, he hates drugs, and he has the whitest name out of everyone in that fucking show.
Oh, that's crazy because apparently Shaggy's original name was Norville in the 80s.
What? I
Like,
don't
That's
remember.
news to me too.
That's
yeah,
news to me.
it's like, well, not his original name, but like, it's just interesting because they said in the 80s version of it, they called him Norville. Like,
Okay, so that's his legal fucking name.
yeah, but um, it's just weird though because when you type in Norville and Velma, Shaggy pops right up. Uh, oh wow, yeah, no, Deadass, his actual name is Norville. Norville Shaggy Rogers.
Okay,
So
all
they
right. So,
they
like you, he uses his middle name.
that's so
Oh my
lame
god.
though, like because it's like a slap in the face. Like folks can't just Google who the fuck Norville is.
Yeah.
They just choose not to call him Shaggy on the show because I'm looking at the Velma website. It's like Norville Shaggy Rogers.
Yeah, but also here's the thing: Norville's character is lame as shit. He's one, it hates drugs. Two, he's a giant simp for Velma who doesn't give a fuck about him and literally laughs in the face when he confesses love to her. So
Also, I have a quote from the creator here. Charlie Grandy told Variety that if they put Scooby in the show, it would be a kid show, and they wanted to make it an adult like humor show. So that too.
Okay, see, I figured because when they were like the dog's off limits, I'm like, but that's what brought the
yeah,
kid. That was the comment.
Exactly.
you're right. Yeah.
But
So,
that,
but the show is doing very
You damn well
badly.
know some kids probably watch this show over the weekend, like, Mom and Dad, what the fuck are we watching?
yeah,
Oh,
Where's the
like
dog?
definitely.
do, and now they're hearing about small penises and
Yeah, and drug dealers.
right.
Yeah,
All
drug
those kids.
dealers.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. How they just pushed his race and took away his enthusiasm for weed. Like
Yeah.
that was his like fun quality. That and his yeah, because he was always high.
No one would have been upset. No one would have been like, "This is racist."
because
It's
why else was
Shaggy.
dog snacks every episode? Like he was high as shit. Like
And also,
In the
marijuana is
movie,
legal
in the
in a lot
live
of
action
states.
movie we all love, they talk about Mary Jane. That's his favorite name.
we also saw that scene where him and Scoob, when they were by themselves, literally came out of the van that was hotboxed.
Yeah.
But they were making quote
Movie
unquote food.
in a movie.
PG movie too.
PG movie. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, he also found his people, the crowd when they were walking the red carpet by smelling the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
because
had,
they're very loud.
Shaggy Rogers. That's Shaggy. Ain't no guy. That's not Norville. That's Shaggy right there.
That's
That's Shaggy right there, yes, sir. So that show did horribly.
I
Yeah.
have to give it a chance. Like Maha said, I had to give it a chance and I mean not a chance, but see for ourselves. Like I want to see is it
One
really that
episode.
bad?
I give that shit a single. Like if you don't get me by the pilot, I have a rule. I'm like, if the pilot sucks me in, I'm here. If the pilot doesn't, like, that's how Attack on Titan got.
Yep.
I have finished I forgot I had finished some anime completely, and I was like, damn, bro, like I have nothing to watch. So my homies were always talking about fucking Attack on Titan. Like folks was just always talking about that shit. So I'm like, all right,
Yes,
whatever.
sir. That's a good ass anime.
I watched the first episode of Demon Slayer first, and I was like, this is nice. It's cool. Like, truth be told, I wasn't super sucked in. I was like, this is cool. I watched first episode of Attack on Titan, and I was like, oh my fucking goodness. Every episode, like my Sunday agenda went out the fucking window, and I got through like damn near the whole first season probably on a Sunday. So that's my rule. Like if the pilot gets me, cool. If it doesn't, fuck off. And now transitioning, fun fact, I watched the pilot to that '90s show today.
Oh, did you really?
Same. I didn't finish it.
I haven't watched it yet. Oh shit.
It's
Disney Channel.
Oh no.
Like Doug, I really wanted to like it, dude. Like I really wanted to.
Oh, I believe you.
Then, my favorite sitcom ever, bro. Like it's like for me, it's top 10 sitcoms. And so I'm watching it, and like, of course they do some fan service, like Red and Kitty come dancing into the kitchen. I'm like, oh shit. But I'm like, it has a laugh track. I know what the fuck canned laughter sounds like versus real audience laugh. It's fucking loud.
And it is overplayed.
It is like they have some cameos, and even just like if you listen to the crowd reaction to the cameos, I'm like, this isn't giving authentic. Because if I was in the crowd and I saw Topher Grace, Mila Kunis, fucking
Ashton
Kutcher.
I gotta remember, it's on the tip of my tongue. Laura Prepon, I would have lost my fucking mind because these are like childhood icons. Like it wouldn't have been like, whoa, it would have been, oh my fucking, like it would have been like losing my and all of the clapping up just sounded the same. And I was like, and then also the kids give Disney acting for sure. They definitely
Disney acting, and also you can't really tell it's 90s. Like it doesn't give you a 90s vibe. It gives you they did not try hard enough. The writing's bad. Like literally the dumb character has a van again, and it's not like
one of like the pretty boy is Kelso's son. Like fucking obviously the nerdy girl is like fucking Donna and Eric's kid. They have like a black girl who she's cool, but like again, I like her the most, but she's just like she's limited by terrible writing. And so yeah, it's very much like I remember the second episode came on autoplay, and I was just like, I can't do this, bro. Like I literally.
I'm looking right now. None of the original writers came back for the show. None of the original writers came back for the show, which is kind of sad. Like none of them, like,
the laugh tracking is overused. By the way, like I'm being so dead serious. They'll like say a sentence and laugh track, and then another sentence, laugh track, another sentence, maybe two sentences, laugh track. It's like it's nothing funny happening, you know.
It's like, you know, I really, and that's the thing too, like. Modern day sitcoms like really don't do laugh tracks. Like I remember
they suck.
That How Your Father show came out. Like I remember me and my partner at the time we were watching. We were just like, "Why is there a laugh track?" Like you really, it gives lazy when you put a laugh track in a show nowadays because like, there's no sitcom that you can say that you like right now that has a laugh track. Like
no, none.
Also, no hate to the LGBTQ community plus community.
Okay.
I don't think there should have been an openly gay character because it's still the 90s and he's still in a very small town.
Oh yeah, that's like
that threw me. Like if he hit it just a tiny, you know, like if it wasn't like an out there thing, that would have been a believable character. But he's out there. And no hate to him, no hate to the community, no hate to the character. I just think like 90s small town, it still wasn't really widely accepted.
I think it's like one of those things probably where it's like you said, like when I saw him, I was like, oh, okay, he's the gay character. Like it wasn't very like hidden. But like I think the thing is probably like for him thinking about it from his point of view, it's probably one of those things where like he couldn't hide it if he wanted to. So it's like accept it or not. Like that's the vibe I kind of got. And like I know a lot
Right.
of it's like even when we were younger, I'm like, oh, like this person might just be gay, but like they don't give a fuck. So it was
True.
like
But my thing is, even like still the 90s and small town, like that's just where my head's at. But I can understand what you're saying because
yeah,
again, growing up, you did know like the gay kids in our class,
yeah,
even if they
like
had quote unquote girlfriend.
yeah, like which was like, I think I always find that to be like an interesting thing where like because I'm a huge supporter like of the gay community and like I identify as queer, like I don't identify as gay, but like so I very much a lot of people who just like whatever be around me. And I just find it interesting where I'm like, well, you'll ask somebody like, when did this happen for you? And they'll be like, you know? And it's just always a funny story. Like there's like, oh, when I was 5 or when I was 13, or I kissed a girl once and was like, I ain't like that shit. Or I kissed a boy once and was like, I ain't like that shit. So I just found that shit to be funny because no matter what they look like, they just be like, yeah, bro. Like one day I just looked up and I was like, damn, I'm gay as hell. And I was like, I love that for you. Like I really love that for you, bro. So,
Like one day I woke up like, you know what? This is my life.
yeah, like I feel that. Like I really I feel that. Like shit. Cause why lie? But
Right.
yeah, that show was seeing just the kind of shows that
I
go ahead.
mhm. Oh,
I was
sorry. I was gonna say something else, but you go ahead.
I was gonna say seeing like that goes back to those seeing like the shows that like get greenlit, um, just very much like puts a fire into my eyes. Like I'm like, oh, like, and I've been trying really strongly recently not to sound too cocky or too confident, but like I also don't really give a fuck because I know that I make quality art. And I very much am inspired by watching people's, let's call them trash shows. Like, and when I say trash, I mean just as far as like the numbers, the reviews. I'm not calling someone else's art.
Hmm.
The general scope. It gives me inspiration of like, oh, if this got greenlit, I know when the opportunity comes, my shit can get greenlit. Because there are a lot of things that are just here for not even a season. Some shows don't make it past 2 fucking episodes. And it's
Yeah.
like, all this money literally down the drain. So yeah, I think the I don't want to go into the whole industry thing if that's not what y'all want to talk about right now. And I know Joe, you were about to say something. So
I was gonna say, I looked at some of the reviews for that '90s show. A lot of it had to talk about the nostalgia and the OG cast that,
were there
for the
fucking up?
well, no, for the good ratings, where like
Mm.
people were like, oh, I love the show, blah blah blah, but it was mainly just out of nostalgia and the love for the OG cast. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, those are my favorite scenes. Like seeing like Eric and Don, seeing Jackie and Kelso. Like and I know
Yeah,
Fez will at some point, but yeah,
yeah, but.
you don't care about the kids. Like
You don't, and that's so that's truly the only reason they got good ratings. But overall, it's just not a good show. The writing's bad,
Some things should not be
cinematography's
rebooted.
bad.
Simple as that.
Yeah,
Some things should not be
but
rebooted.
me
Some
and you
things.
definitely talk about this a lot. Where it's like we're at a point where we're still doing nostalgia factors for a lot of things, movies, TV shows, and we need to stop
Yep.
because like E.T. No one fucking wanted a reboot, a second coming of E.T. You know what I mean? Or other like yeah, stuff like that.
yeah, I think the industry has a problem I've noticed with like originality a lot of the times. Um,
Yes.
but it's really just
Mm.
laziness on a quick cash grab. Like, and that's why a huge part of the reason why like I've studied like business is because like a lot of creators have these amazing ideas and then here come the businessmen, women, people in the studios who are just like, how about we do this instead? Like, we want to remake a Spielberg classic with half of like with this amazing budget. Here you go. And it's like no one wants to see that. Like, it's so funny how the industry is so focused on metrics and
Yeah.
all use all the fucking time, but then you're giving people shit that they didn't ask for.
Yeah. And like that's really the funny thing is that they'll be like, well, here's a business. They loved this back in the day, and now a lot of the new generation loves it too because their parents or siblings put them on it, and it's coming back up into trending social media. Let's put it out there. Let's bring this back, and that'll probably make us a lot of money. And it's like it's out right now. It's overplayed. It's too much done, but also they do sort of the same thing where they focus way too much on the business aspect, like which takes away creativity from writers and directors. You know what I mean? For for the Justice League movie, we have the Justice League movie, and then we have Zack Snyder's cut where he got to show his creativity with it, and it really shows like they're taking away power from people who just like their creativity can make them a lot of money, but because they're ironically thinking about money, they ruin it and they take the creativity away.
Yeah, I think that's
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Go ahead.
It's pretty much too many cooks in the kitchen where like they like everyone thinks that they have the best idea and all those ideas kind of get like mushed together into something like the theatrical cut of Justice League where it's like there was a clear vision but so many people had input on it that it kind of ended up really like messy or I mean happens a lot. There's a lot of interference with a movie like with the creator's vision. It most of the time it ends up not what they wanted or they talked about, which kind of sucks. But I mean, it happens more than often with like big picture, like big studio movies. But like compared to like an A24 movie or like an independent movie, not so much. So it kind of depends on like the studio and also like who's running what.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I noticed too, like, a lot of directors talk about like final cut privileges and like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure when you work at like the Marvels and the fucking really any Disney or probably Warner Brothers picture, unless your name is incredibly established, you're not getting final cut. But
Nope.
and like that was, I mean, Tarantino is somebody who has final cut. Spielberg, somebody has final cut, but these are names who have been around for 30, 40 years. So I think, again, going back to studying, like, I really wish that every artist, every filmmaker, like, no matter what you do, knew about the business that they were in because so many get fucked over by that. Like, just think about, like, even just the music industry and the film industry are like sisters. And so it's like, let's say you're the doe-eyed kid who has this incredible idea and someone's like, I believe in you, kid, here's a budget. That's a huge asterisk next to that. Same thing with like you're singing in a bar or you're discovered on YouTube and someone's like, here's a contract, kid, let's show the world what you're made of. Again, huge asterisk next to that because they're not telling you how much of what you're making they're taking every time you make. And when we bring in again filmmaking, like so many fucking directors don't produce their films. They just
No.
write direct, and then it's just like, okay, the studio gave me a budget, and now the studio's cutting you a check for your shit, but you have no ownership rights. You get nothing on the back end. You just got a check for slaving for fucking 3 years making a film, and that's all right. Fuck off to the next project. And
Yep.
so that's just something that I'm like super anal about, like spreading the knowledge about, but just making sure because traditionally you don't get paid for the shit that you broke your fucking neck to fucking make. The studio's the ones getting paid. It's a classic example right now. Fucking Ice Cube was in a dispute with fucking Warner Brothers over the rights for Friday. And it's
Yeah.
like that was your coming out party. You made that. But again, someone else paid for it and they kept all the rights. So, and that's why we look at somebody like a Tyler Perry who's a Marvel, like you might not like his movies, but he owns everything he fucking does.
He sure
And
does.
we could like, I don't, everybody had their opinion about his shit or whatever, but like everything he makes, he owns and distributes through company. And so, yeah, that's just something I think is incredibly powerful that people need to understand because, Zack Snyder has no fucking ownership in Justice League. Ryan Coogler has no fucking ownership in Black Panther.
Nope.
Like, the more you're established, the more rights you obviously have. And that's, again, why I always tell homies, like, don't write to pitch to people, just write to create. Because the more you create and the more you establish yourself, people are going to come to you with opportunities. And when they come to you, you have the bargaining power. When you're just fucking broke with a script, you have nothing but a fucking script.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and I like how you like the music industry and the entertainment industry is like sisters, which is really true because they do the same thing to artists themselves, not even their songs, but artists, where it's like they put them in this contract and force them to constantly like, you know, uh, do concerts and, drive them until, they're basically killing themselves. And it's, it's like that, but with shows and movies where they'll take this and do whatever the fuck they want with it. You have no power over it. You don't have any ownership. So yeah, that's very much so like it is,
Yeah, you're a hired hand usually when you come to these big studio like you said, Maha, like the Marvel Disney movies. Like, I mean, most of the time you're just brought into this one thing. See you on the next project, and that's why I give a lot of credit to movies like people like A24. A24 lets their creators do their thing. Like
Exactly.
because smaller budget, you have like less smaller budget. I think you have more room to like, hey, like have like conversations. When you have a bigger budget, you're following the blueprint, or you're following like the I don't know, like the agreement you had with the company. If you do an independent film, you have more leeway to kind of like speak more creatively. Also, like I'll showcase what you want to show. I think it's why like you see like smaller movies like a Barbarian or like The Menu, stuff like that, or even like movie like Smile, where it's like you can definitely like for lower budget you can have more not control, but you can have more like I don't know like you have more leeway to like make those choices that you couldn't make at a Warner Brothers or a Universal or a bigger studio because you're speaking more creatively, but you're speaking more of like with more uniqueness or like more like of like original thought, which I think is very like I think important when it comes to like seeing like new filmmakers, like um shows what they have as a filmmaker, like shows what you're capable of in telling stories.
Yeah, for sure. And I think going back to the small companies thing too, like people, there's this thing that I've seen just like, especially in artists, like a lot of folks want through the big accolades and rewards without actually taking the proper steps. Like
Yeah.
so many people look at success stories, and again, going back to that, like they don't really look at the journey. Folks be looking at
Hmm.
folks look at a fucking let's take Beyonce for example. Folks just look at Beyonce like, oh my god, she's Beyonce. It's just like, okay, but did you look at what she was doing in 99, 92, 90 when she was just a broke girl in Houston? Like it's the A to the B and everybody just focuses on Z, And like
hmm
we look at let's take for example like a Greta Gerwig. Greta
Hmm.
Gerwig, like her first film that she directed was Lady Bird, but Greta Gerwig was writing films and acting in films like 10, 15 years before that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and also she, she made an incredible acclaimed hit for A24. And then her next film was with like fucking Universal, which was Little Women. And now
Yeah.
she's doing Barbie. So it's like start from the smaller places and work your way up because also fucking Jordan Peele did the same thing. Yes, he was on Key and Peele, and before that he was on Mad TV, which again, the grind is incredible. But then he made Get Out with fucking what was that Blumhouse, like
hmm
Low budget money, super low budget.
super low budget with Blum,
Uh,
and then they distributed through Universal. And like the fucking genius that he is, because he was a producer on Get Out, has credit like ownership in Get Out. That now Us was exclusively with Universal. So he
Yep.
used a smaller company to did what he had to do, and then he moved on to the bigger company, and he has Final Cut at Universal for his next two movies.
yeah,
So
let's also talk
Sure
about
does.
another actor who came from little beginnings, which is Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. He was doing YouTube, and then he started writing. Who was it? Was it SNL or
yeah, he
was
was
it?
doing comedy when he was in I think
Yeah,
he um
Yeah, he was writing for Tracy Morgan and 30 Rock.
yeah, he was
yeah,
writing Tracy Morgan, 30 Rock, and then he got Community. He had his tiny movies he also did on the side. And,
mhm.
people saw his acting. He started doing music even more, stand up as well. And he just, blew up bigger and bigger and, kept progressing. Nothing slowed him down. So, yeah, definitely.
And like we said, like it's that journey. Like there are stories about him in between takes when everyone's at crafty kiki and he's writing the synopsis of what will become Atlanta in like 2030. So it's just like, again, it's really just like I don't want to sound corny, but like shit, bro, if you want something, just go for it, like, and focus on that
Yeah.
shit. Like if you got to drive Uber every day to fucking make ends meet, hey, like think about why you're doing it. Try to write, try to, you know, have like-minded conversations, pay attention, write dialogue, whatever you got to do. Like it's every day you got to keep that spirit alive of like, this is what I want to do. Like, you know, I'm not currently really making money from the industry. I have a lot of opportunities coming, but like none of them are really paid. But I've learned is like, if you just focus on what pays you all the time, like you're just gonna always be pigeonholing yourself because you're gonna get paid for anything that you really want to do when you're starting out. Like I've made money from shooting videos. I've also made nothing from having incredible collaborations. But in those moments where you're not making currency, it's still an opportunity. So that might point you to some currency later down the line. That might point you to some more like referred people who might want to work with you to build that portfolio, to get an online presence, which would then have companies coming to you. So it's like, again, that instant gratification, like that shit's kind of dead, bro. You really need to be in here for the long game, because if you love it, like you shouldn't have to get paid every 5 seconds to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's a job. You gotta look at it like a job. Not every job you do is gonna fucking, reward you for, the hard work that you do. You gotta push yourself to, see where you want to be, and it might be a slow progress, but if you can at least slowly build up through the ladder and everything like that, you're gonna do it. Same thing with the entertainment industry and everything else like that. You just gotta know what steps you want to take and go for it, not just hold yourself back constantly.
Yeah. That's why I love, I admire Kevin Smith a lot. I mean, Kevin Smith has started from like, paying. I mean, I heard him a few months ago when he was in Arizona for like a Q&A. He said that he took out so many credit cards just to pay off the first Clerks movie that he made all on his own. Like he financed it himself. He had savings in, that he used. And he was saying like, don't let someone give you the opportunity. Make your own opportunity. You know why? Because to your point, Maha, like the more you wait, the less chance you're gonna be able to like make something at a young age, or you're gonna wait, or then someone else is gonna do what you want to do. So like, there's no point in waiting when you can make your own opportunity, which is again the beauty of like people now TikToks and YouTube and social media. Like there's so much. Oh, I mean, everyone has an iPhone or Android. Well, hopefully an iPhone. They can take some like really good like cinematic like photos or videos with like there's an actual mode called filmmaker mode now on or cinematic mode on an iPhone, which is really cool. Where it's like the more you wait on an opportunity that might not come, you could be doing this and that. Which again, I admire about you, man. You have 2 films right now, man. Which is again, I'm super impressed with you. 2 films that you're already in post, and you're shooting a music video on this weekend. Like don't let opportunity come to you. You find the opportunity and make it yourself, and make your own path. Because then, like I said, the more you wait, the less likely you might make it down the road. Because times life is very valuable, and so is your time.
Yeah, it's like I just remember there's this philosophy that I have when it comes to even just like applying to jobs. And I don't know, maybe I got this from my parents or whatever, but it's like, think about it, like when you're trying to find a job and you're applying and applying and applying, like, does it make more sense to just sit and hope that somebody calls you, or do you just keep fucking applying? Like, because if you're just sitting there, like, these bills aren't waiting, so why are you waiting?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
So like
I'm there right now.
Yeah, that's the philosophy. Like, I had a friend and she was like, "No, none of these jobs are calling me back." And I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, I'm just gonna wait." And I was like, "Hey, I don't want to sound critical, but like, you're waiting on something that legit it might not happen right now. So what you gonna do in the meantime?" And so I just take that same philosophy because again, like everybody, I remember when I was 19, I went to Hollywood with the script, and I remember I met this dude, and he was just like, everybody got a dream. Like every Uber driver is an actor, every waitress is an actor, every fucking random dude in a taxi is a fucking producer. So like, what makes you different? And I was like, wow, like, yeah, it was a little kick to the heart, but at the same time, it was like a shock to reality. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, everybody has a fucking script. It doesn't matter how quality I say my shit is. It doesn't matter how quality it is. Everybody has a script. So what
Mhm.
makes you stand out? And it's like, oh, well, when you come with a script and a whole fucking portfolio where you could just look at somebody and say, Google me, look me up on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and there's a whole portfolio that goes along with you. Now you have so much more power walking into a room than if you're just some dude from Chicago with a script about something.
Yeah, no, it's again, I can relate to that all too well. But I remember going out to LA for my internship before COVID hit. It's the same thing. Is like, what makes you different? I remember being in an Uber with someone, and he was saying the same thing. He wanted to be a filmmaker, he moved to LA to be like a writer, and he goes, you know what, man? Like, I kind of like didn't really value my time, and he was saying like what you just said. It's like, what makes you different? Like,
Mhm.
everyone has a script, everyone has a little short film, like, everyone has that, but if you're able to like showcase who you are as a person through your art, that shit is gold. And that speaks miles. That speaks volumes. That speaks to almost everything. I think that's
Mhm.
the thing is like when you invest in yourself and you believe in yourself, that shit goes a long way. Whether it's a
Long.
script, yeah, but a long way, like a short film or a script or even music. If you're able to like believe in yourself, but also like I think also too, if someone's self-made, like how we all three of us are, and you get that make I don't care if one person sees it or 200 people see it, just having something done that is yours, I think is very self-rewarding. Also, kind of gives you a little bit of a boost of like, you know what, I can do this. This is what I want to do. This is my art, and this is who I am as an artist. So I think it's very important to like never forget that like believe in yourself, but also just like believe in your art because it goes a long way.
I think we can definitely learn from one person. I feel like we all love this man, and I hope you love him, Maha. I know me, Doug loves him. I love him. Childhood favorite, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that dude started literally from nothing, just making dumb little song jokes, going on to TV to eventually, doing movies and making his own production company and writing, directing, and making something big of it. Like people like with The Rock and Bautista, if years ago, early '90s, when he was just doing those little guitar songs, if you said what he is now, no one would believe you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
icon. Hell yeah.
He's a giant icon. He made his own production company, which has done a lot of great movies. He's done amazing acting. He's done great writing, directing, producing. Like he's made such great things, and like people try cast typing him, and he's gone along with it, but he's also stepped out of that boundary to show you like, fuck you, I am who I am. You know what I mean? And that doesn't stop him.
No,
Uncut Gems, man.
phone fell. Yeah, that's yeah. I feel like Adam Sandler is a classic example too of just like reinventing yourself and not being like, yeah, I think has he been typecasted for sure, and I think a lot of that was like him wanting to be to a degree.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, shit, he was getting paid a shit ton of money to just have fun on camera with his friends, like, of
His
course.
friends, yep.
Yeah.
But just like again, looking at even just like the rounds he's doing for that Hustle movie, I haven't seen it, but I hear it's
Great
amazing.
movie. It's awesome.
Like same thing with like, I mean, how fucking PTA wrote the part for him in Punch Drunk Love, how they wrote the part for him in Uncut Gems, and he's working with the Safdie brothers again. So like, it's just yeah, it's I feel like he's a classic example of like you don't have to be what people tell you to be,
Exactly. You,
and
you
that's
know, do what you need to do. Sometimes you're gonna work at McDonald's and you gotta smile at people you fucking don't want to smile at and just act friendly. And you know what I mean? Like just do what you gotta do, but also, when you can push yourself to go further than where you're at.
oh yeah, wholeheartedly. Like yeah, it's just I really if it The one thing I would just love for people to take away is just like, bro, don't be scared to do shit yourself. Like, and this is coming from a recovering perfectionist who like I used to really be like, if I do this and it don't work out the way I wanted to, I'm gonna hate it. So I'm just not gonna do it. And that was very detrimental to me. And I very, very, very I just want people to know, like, nobody's gonna give you anything, bro. That's just the reality. Like, I grew up poor, so I am poor, black from the South Side. Like, I was not giving shit. Like, I had to get it myself. So I think that's the thing of like, I really appreciate like people talk shit about like YouTubers and TikTokers, but I'm like, there are people who make incredible content who are using that as a way to get into the industry. And it's like, I feel like people are mad at them because a lot of people who are mad at them aren't doing that for themselves. And that model over with, like, you can't, it's like making a film now, like, bro, like, you make a short film, put it on YouTube, a few hundred people see it, and then then what? Nothing. Like, you hope that you hope a distribution company comes calling, you hope Netflix comes calling, but let's be honest, you just threw it up on YouTube. You had no plan. Again, or you hope that Sundance was going to take it. Now Sundance isn't taking it and you feel defeated. Like, no, bro, like, that's not the industry anymore. They want you to think that, but like, there's so many other things where you can make a film and literally do a whole independent rollout yourself. And then if you do it successfully to where you have metrics that show people liked it, people reposted it, people paid money to see it, now you can use that to get meetings with those companies and show I did it by myself. So imagine what we could do together. So yeah, folks just need to do shit themselves, because if you do shit yourself, companies are going to see your value. That's really what it is. People want to see what you can do. If you're broke with a script, that don't make you special. I don't care if you're fucking Tarantino with the pen. But if you have the fucking drive and the proof of this is what you did by yourself independently, that's why we see so many popular artists who did shit independently and then they sign with a major label, because they're like, yo, I did this by myself. Imagine what I could do with the backing of a multi-billion-dollar company. So yeah,
you're building your brand. You're building your brand. You're building yourself.
Exactly. And then you don't have to sign away your fucking soul because they see how valuable you are. So it's not like, okay, you know, like in the music industry, there's a thing called 85-15 where it's like the label gets 85 and then they give the artist 15% of everything. And that's a traditional model. And that's why so many artists are historically broke as fuck. But if you look at, for example, the rap industry, it's so many rappers who are independent and then they sign with larger labels and they still own their shit because it's a partnership. And it's like, that's the goal that I have for my companies. Like, I don't want to work for any company. Now, granted, if Disney comes and say, well, we want you to direct the first X-Men movie, I'll take it. But it's still like, I'm not just about to be like, okay, whatever you want, Mr. Feige. Like, no, there have to be conversations. We have to make sure we're on the same page about things, because I didn't get into this to be somebody's employee. I've been someone's employee on and off my entire life. And I'm in this to create, but I'm also in this to understand the business of this all, because, you know, a lot of times they'll talk business and look past the artist because they just see the artist as like, you're the worker. You're not someone who deserves to be in these rooms, and we deserve to be in these rooms as long as you know what the fuck you're talking about. So yeah, do it yourself, kids. Anybody listen to this, do it yourself. No one's gonna give you shit.
No, absolutely. That's why, you know, I studied, you know, Ryan Coogler a lot in film school, of like how he made his little short film. Well, again, first off, he was supposed to be a football player. What his dad wanted him to be. He transferred to USC Film School. I think it was his sophomore or junior year or whatever. And he made this one short film that got so much attention that his next movie, you got Forrest Whitaker producing, which was Fruitvale Station. And then Fruitvale Station won all these big awards. He was 25, 26 when he, you know, won Sundance or whatever the film festival that was when he debuted Fruitvale Station. That got recognition. And then he's writing this movie called Creed. You know, he pitches it to Stallone. Stallone goes, I don't know, see a kid. But then Stallone sees Fruitvale Station and goes, oh shit. He has something. And then I still remember being in the room. Me and my dad went to the Creed premiere in Chicago years ago. I remember being in the room, and this is, again, Michael B. Jordan, who I think everyone knew at the time, but no one knew who Ryan Coogler was really. I knew who he was, being a fan of his work. But I remember like being in that theater before he gets the job of Black Panther, and I was like, this makes sense. He's literally worked his way up with each film he's done, whether it was his
Mhm.
first short film called Locks, which was a student film at USC, and
Yep.
then it was Fruitvale
Oh,
Station, Creed, and now Black Panther, which is like, yeah, you gotta trust the process because, like you said, Maha, like it doesn't come overnight. If you can really, you know, display your like your craft and also just like again like show who you are through your art, doors will open for you. Doors will open for you, and you might get X-Men, Black Panther, Superman, whatever, or a big
mhm.
movie like like another franchise movie. But either way, it's like, you know what, it takes time. But if you really believe in that your craft, you believe in who you are as a filmmaker, doors will open for you. Just believe in yourself. Trust the process, because you know what, all of us are here trying to make our own stuff, make our own, make our own art, because it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and it takes like your willingness to like really like believe in yourself, and also willingness to like say hey, I can do this. Just give me a chance, and I'll show you what I'm capable of as an artist.
Mhm. Wholeheartedly agree, folks.
Yeah.
So, what do we? Are y'all working on anything? I know we're supposed to talk about shit we're working on. What are y'all working on?
Just trying to survive at this point.
Well,
Keep my
this part,
girlfriend interested in me. Life shit.
well right now, like, so this is why I started this podcast, was to like, I was working at a job a few months ago that I wasn't really getting anything out of. Like, it was a really good job, but like I just wasn't really like, it wasn't really enhancing me as a filmmaker or the creator. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this as my side hustle, side hustle, as like, like I want to do. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so you know what, I'm just gonna do it now, because like you talked about earlier, that the more I thought about it, the more I felt like I was waiting for it to come to me, and I was like, you know what? Why? Why? Let's do it now. I have computers. I have a mic. I can do this to like really like showcase who I am as a person, also as a creative. And I think this is what I want to. I want to add this. I want the goal for this year was to really build this podcast and build this like company, the production company full too, of like having like, to your point, Maha. Like, I'm tired of being someone's employee. Like, I want to like really like, create my own way, create my own, my own production, create my own like, jobs, because I want to like really have ownership of like what I do as a creative, as also as a person too. So this is what I'm trying to focus on a lot this year. And I'm, I haven't been writing as much as I want to. I wrote a lot when I was in film school, and then when the COVID first hit a few years ago, I was like just deep into my writing so much, where then I started getting, started getting more jobs in production and, in the industry, which I'm so grateful for to this very day. But I felt myself kind of like drifting away from like my writing and my development of like storytelling. So I'm hoping this year is with, focusing on this podcast, is also I want to like go back to my writing, go back to my like, creative development of like, telling stories of, and just kind of writing people that I do want to write with, which is kind of like what I miss the most about it, for sure.
Mm.
I'm working on, this podcast with Doug. He's talked about it in the past, and I always said that I'd love to be a part of it. I stopped writing quite a while ago. I've thought of less like movie and TV show ideas, but things have started coming back to me slowly as I've been doing this podcast. So my main focus on the podcast is just to get people to be okay with saying things they don't like. You know what I mean? Because it like I feel with a lot of the entertainment industry and as an audience as critics is saying you don't like a fucking movie. You know what I mean? Or show. There's so many critics that'll give love to so many things and we'll watch it and I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like why is this getting so much love from critics? You know what I mean? Where I feel like, if I let my originality spew out and just truly like say what's on my mind, less people will want to hop on the bandwagon and say how they truly feel about something instead of dick riding something just because everyone else is fucking doing it. I want other people to truly get the sense of, all right, well, this guy's being himself. I want to be myself as well. And, I'm at a point where I gotta just sort of sort life out just a tiny bit to eventually go back to writing and thinking of things. So right now I'm working on just life itself, but eventually I will get back into writing and just trying, think of ways to get out there. But this is what I'm working on in life. And now I'm in a relationship as well. So I'm working
That's
on
so
that as
good.
well.
Saying.
It's been a bad minute since I've been in a relationship. So you know what I'm saying? Like, woo. Yeah.
Okay, wow. Shouts out to y'all and y'all relationships. Love that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So,
We actually, you know what? Me and Joe actually have a script I want to give to you if you want to like ever want to like write with us and create, direct with us because I feel like it's very Chicago based. It's kind of like inspired by us, like growing up in Chicago. I'll shoot it over to you after the show. I think you might want to be part of it if you want to. It's
Yeah, for
a
sure.
passion
Y'all,
project of me and Joe.
I mean, at the bare minimum, I always like reading homie scripts. So like, yeah, definitely send it over. I'll shoot you my email.
Oh, I'd love to.
yes,
Yeah, man. It's
for
something that I got
sure.
me and Joe when I was in London doing my semester abroad. I had this idea came to mind, and me and Joe were like, "Fuck, it, we'll just write it," because we it's kind of inspired by. I mean, not fully inspired, but loosely inspired by growing up in Chicago. It was like kind of like like little like not life stories, but it's kind of like the shenanigans we got involved with. But it's something I'm very proud of that me and Joe we wrote the whole like season one like Bible like season one outline, but we were like what I want to say 3 episodes in Joe before I think I started working
Three,
again.
4 episodes, yeah, before
Yeah,
we
three or
stopped.
four. We outlined a lot for
Yeah.
sure, but I know we're very proud of
And we
it.
have an understanding of where we want to take it. So,
Yeah.
well, I definitely would, especially because, like I said in the beginning, besides you being a pain in the ass, I said that you are very unique, minded, and spirit and mind. But like I said, you're doing so much yourself. With, by the way, I love the name Black Lily, for your company,
Oh,
and
that,
sorry, what'd you say? You cut out.
no, I was saying thank you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. No, that's a creative name. I have my own name future, but I'm not gonna say it now until I get that fucking shit marked down for myself.
In the meantime,
Uh,
he's the co-founder of Midway Avenue Productions before his
yes,
untitled company will come to mind down the road. Down the
yes,
road.
yes. Hidden title really, but anyways,
Entitled, yeah.
me and you've been friends since third grade, and you've been a very unique person. So and I've seen you writing. We talked about one of your projects that I think you got done. I didn't get to stick around to see it finished, but I definitely would love to see your mindset, just like with this podcast as well. You can come back anytime, and also I'm glad you came. I was like. How can we expand this shit more? And you immediately came into my head, and I was like, and I told Doug, he was like, I fucking would love that shit. So
I'm telling you, Maha, this man was through the roof because I had the perfect guest for this, and I was like, "Well, bring him the fuck on." I would love that. So trust me, it was like day one that we wanted you on. Also, you're our first official guest of the podcast, so
Oh,
props to you,
thank
my
yes,
friend.
and on the first episode of the new year,
The
episode
new year,
4.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Oh, happy to be here for sure. Um, yeah, for sure, happy to be here, and also just happy to hear like what you say you're doing, like, and I just want to emphasize too, like, just because you're not like writing right now doesn't mean that you're not like creating, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
hear that. Oh, absolutely.
I don't want it to be like a negative connotation. And I'm not saying that you are either one of y'all putting negative connotations on it. I just want you. I've been very much learning the hard way of like talking yourself up and giving yourself props for what you're doing versus looking at yourself for what you're not doing.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just like there's inspiration everywhere. Like there really is inspiration everywhere. So you might not be putting pen to pad now, but like at some point it's gonna be like a spark where it's like, oh shit, bro, I remember all these things, and now you can't stop writing. So I'm excited for that. I'm happy that y'all got a script that you were working on. Happy you're living life because that's the most important part about writing. You have to live life. Like
So true.
Yes, sir.
and be in a fucking room 24/7 because what are you going to write about? Like, so the fact that you're in a relationship, the fact that you're trying to figure it out, the fact that y'all have this podcast, like that's all shit to add to the fire, which is you two as creative beings. So yeah, love that shit for y'all.
Yeah. Okay. So besides the meaningful talk, there's one subject I'd love to hear your guys' thought processes on, It
What's
is. Alec Baldwin
Oh
has
yeah, that's
just
today.
been convicted of manslaughter. 2 counts, actually, of manslaughter.
I heard about that in passing. I think that's that's a toughie.
That
Yeah,
is
the
tough.
him and another crew member today. They were Albuquerque charged him and the other crew member of I think it was involuntary 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
And I think I remember when this happened. I was like, oh, this is terrible. Like, because again, what I remember reading it was that like this production was not like insured, didn't have like the correct or like proper like safety etiquette, safety procedures, safety coordinators. It was very, very, very. And it's weird too, because someone who is big as Alec Baldwin is with his fame, you would think this would be an insured, very like kind of like I don't know, like prepared like with when it comes to safety set, but apparently it wasn't. Everyone that was hired on was kind of was a local, and a lot of them didn't have production, experience or sorry, firearm experience. And so when it happened, and then it came out that he was the one that shot the gun, he took no ownership of that. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, and you can hear the interviews with like the husband of the cinematographer who passed away. Her husband was saying, "I blame this on Alec Baldwin 100%." Like he had no problem saying, "I put a finger at him. He's behind this." And Alec Baldwin, I don't know what his issue was, but he said it wasn't me. Someone else pulled the gun. It wasn't me. But the footage of was like he shot her. Like the gun was in his hand, and he was like kind of being a coward and was like, "No, you know what? It wasn't me. It was someone else." Like, bro, you kill someone, and now this is your consequences. Like, but you know what? He's an actor. He'll probably have a really expensive lawyer that'll probably get him like in some club fed prison or house arrest. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's a shame that there's no ownership when it comes to his actions.
Also, I'd like to also say something before you go, Maha. That this is also another thing. I'm a big Second Amendment person. I have a gun. I tell people get a gun, go practice shooting, gun safety, stuff like that. This is another thing where production and Hollywood take things a little too lightly when it comes to safety. Even if it is blanks, you still have to be very, very careful because those are still like things in there, whether it's a fake gun or not, like there's still things in it, and you do have to like take precautions. We and sadly, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Bruce Lee son in The Crow lost his life to the same sort of way.
Yeah, yeah,
So, even if it's a fake gun, I feel like Hollywood and production should take it as gun safety, check, check what's in there, make sure everything's all good, double check it, triple check it, and just, be, careful, be like, all right, don't point the gun exactly here. Like, let's do a little, let's do it at an angle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and just like take again gun safety, whether it's a fake gun or not, should be taken very seriously. And this topic has been talked about within the gun community and like gun, activists and gun YouTubers and people who take, guns and gun safety very seriously, like myself.
yeah. It's like, and the part that you said, Doug, about like not taking accountability, like that's a huge thing. I mean, I'm on the
Huge.
accountability like fucking press tour right now, just to always talk about it. Like, yeah, bro, like, and like you said, Joe, like the whole Brandon Lee thing, like we shouldn't have to constantly bring up like examples, like because people should honestly learn from these unfortunate,
Mhm.
and so it's like, and then Doug, you bringing up them not having like the necessary paperwork, and like anybody who's ever worked any position on a film set, like you should really know that that shit is no joke. Like you whether
Yep,
you're
no joke.
film or like a fucking DC Marvel film, like you have to have the proper insurances. You have to have like the proper documentation because you never fucking know. Even if actors are working for free, you got to have those
Hmm.
agreements because you never know. And so it's like, Yeah, it's moments like this where it's like very extreme, yes, but you can't have, unless you're shooting a student film or a really low key film in very few locations and it's very, call it easy, there's no reason why you shouldn't have fucking insurance. And even then, you
Yeah.
really need insurance. You're just kind of, you might not be able to quote unquote afford it. So having Alec Baldwin on a production that didn't have proper paperwork and didn't have proper gun safety, because also I've had gun safety on sets. Like even when I know there's
Mhm.
gun, it's just the principle of like if the prop looks real and we're outside, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
No, yeah.
Chicago production like website, it talks about that specifically. Don't be outside with fake guns because we know how Chicago is. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like it is very irresponsible for the producers of that, like wholeheartedly. And I think Alec Baldwin might actually be a producer on there as well, if I'm not
I think
mistaken.
the same thing. Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So like
is.
it is very, very, very irresponsible and also just disrespectful to like honestly, bro, it's like if you did it, just say you did it. Like literally
Right. Look,
say you did it. Like there's no reason to be doing all this extra like it wasn't me,
parent,
whatever.
you
So
know,
yeah, I I really hope that like it's a complicated situation because like obviously like accountability is like okay you figuring out like the actions like I'm not huge on jail but shit if you got to go sit in jail for a few years do what you got to do you know
yeah.
I hope her husband got some kind of compensation that obviously ain't gonna bring her back but I hope that
Oh,
Oh
he's
yeah, I think he
definitely
sued. I think
getting
he sued that
compensated. He
like, the
sued.
production. I think he sued the production, and they had a kid too. And I remember seeing the interview with him on like I don't know, was it 60 Minutes or whatever or CBS Sunday Morning, and you can tell like, you watch the husband, you can see his like face, like he's angry, and he's just lost for words because like the person that who took his life away is denying accountability, but also you're just sitting there like he's just like so he's just done. He's just done, and he's like I have to now sit with this while the person who killed my wife gets to be going to Oscar parties and and the other another parties like there's no consequences.
right
And I'm pretty sure I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure he sued the production. No, I know he sued Alec Baldwin for sure.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, man. It just to me, it's yeah.
And,
Yeah, I agree. It's be more prepared, and this shame on them.
also, that's another thing about the accountability is that, you were holding the gun, and even if it's accident, you took a person's life, and that doesn't only affect the person that lost their life, it's the people around them that truly love
Hmm.
them, their parents, their husband, husband, the kids, so on, brothers and sisters, if she had any. And, like, you know, you could at least apologize, give them closure. Like, even if you didn't mean to kill them, you still did it. And that and taking that accountability, you could also apologize to that family, been like, this should never have happened. We fucked up. I fucked up, and someone lost their life, and I'm so sorry. Instead you're blaming everyone which way to try to save your own ass, and not thinking about the effects it has on the people of the person that lost their life.
yeah yeah I hope it all works out for the best. I mean you know yeah it's a tough situation for sure because like that should have never been the case and that's just the sad reality of it.
Yeah.
Yep, never. Like I said, I think knowing actors and people in power, you'll. I mean, it's. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like he's gonna get off easy with getting like house arrest or some fancy prison, where like he's eating like brunch every hour or something
White
like
collared
that.
prison
So my collar, yeah, he's playing golf. Like
where
I don't know.
Lagorovich is at. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, those club vet prisons, where like yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're playing tennis and you're playing golf and you're having good food, so you're not eating slop every day like other jails are.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, it's an unfortunate situation, and again I really do feel for the everyone that was involved, and I do especially feel for the husband and her son that has to sit with this for the rest of their lives, but. Yeah. All right, Joe. Should we do with our one and one?
Yes. So I told you about this before we started recording, Maha. Uh, sorry, I'm stuttering on your name. uh, where we're gonna before we close out, we're gonna each say one TV show and one movie that we recommend for our audience and possibly each other to at least put on their watch list and eventually check out, even within like a year or two. You know how watch list grows; they keep growing, and we forget about some of them. So definitely, I'll start it. Let's get this done. My one TV show would be I talked about it earlier, which is Tulsa King, with how can I forget his name? We are talking about
Sylvester Stallone, man. Come on, Rocky.
Sylvester Stallone's Rocky. My bad brain fart. Uh, Highly great show, such great writing, cinematography pretty well, and it's such a great just show overall. It's an intriguing one where they talk about like those mafia guys that have taken trouble punishments that weren't even their own and stayed in prison for a very, very long time, 45 years in fact, in the movie, I believe 25 or 45. uh and he finally gets out, and he wants what's owed to him, and the mafia says, we're all good here in New York. We're going to send you down to Tulsa and get business. And it's an older guy learning about the new age of technology, weed, and a lot of different things like that, and just trying to get back his life of what he can salvage. And I think this is one of Sylvester Stallone's best acting pieces. Truly, he makes the character just breathe life, and I truly think he did such a fantastic job. I truly loved the show. uh I cannot wait for season two. I'm excited, and season one literally like just finished like last week. So definitely, Paramount Plus, if you got Paramount Plus on Amazon, fucking go there, watch the show. Highly recommended, highly loved it. Just Sylvester Stallone just killed it. It's a great show overall. So definitely watch that. And my one movie would be the Meyerowitz Story with Adam Sandler, Ben
Good movie.
Stiller. Just an all over round amazing cast, great story writing, and just sort of shows the trauma and conflicts of a family. Like it felt like a family, a successful family, but still like they had their issues. And you can relate to at least the trauma and just sort of feeling of the oldest child, the youngest child, curses and stuff like that, where your parents are human as well, but they also they're not perfect. And it was just cinematography, writing, again, all really good. And then just the actors we all love and know, Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler,
Dustin
and much
Hoffman.
more. Yes, exactly, and much more. Like I said, I don't know if it's still on Netflix. Hopefully, it is.
It is. He
Uh,
has an exclusive deal with Netflix.
hey, that's what's
Cool.
up. So on Netflix, check it out. Great, great, great movie. Whoever wants to go next, go ahead.
Sure, I'll go. I got one. Let's see. I just watched it last night with my girlfriend, and it's still very underrated. It came out in 2018. It is 2018's Upgrade. It's a very, very,
Yeah.
it's a great movie. It's a very, very slow, but very low budget Blumhouse pick that when it came out, I think only me and Joel saw it in theaters. Only two that thing saw it in theaters. And I remember
We
seeing,
went to a movie premiere, and the director was there for a short
I'm
bit.
jealous. That's right. You saw it in Chicago before me, and I was very jealous because I saw it in like an empty theater, like when it came out by myself, and I was like, "Wow, no one's here but me." But man, it's Leigh Whannell. He's the co-creator of the first two Saw movies, and he did Invisible Man after Upgrade. But Upgrade's are really cool. It's like I pitched it as like it's like an episode of Black Mirror meets like John Wick, and with a splash of like RoboCop. It's awesome, and for a $3.5 million budget movie, it looks super expensive, and they do a great job of making it look like a higher budget, very very crisp, very clean looking. Cinematography is awesome. The camera work on the fight scenes are awesome. I don't want to spoil too much about it. I want people to go in blind as possible, but I think you can rent it. I think you, not on any streaming services. I own it on Blu-ray because it's a fucking awesome movie. It's yeah, 2018 upgrade. It's a brutal movie. I mean, if you like violence, this is the movie for sure. But holy shit, the fight scenes and the whole combat is brutal. But it's an awesome movie. It came out 2018. It's called Upgrade, worth the watch. And TV show, I've been rewatching a lot of Parks and Rec. It's a good comfort show. But new shows, I've been watching now Abbott Elementary, which I think is hilarious. If you're a former student of CPS, like we all three of us are, it
Yes.
is a very realistic kind of view of elementary and grade school, a little bit of high school, of like
One of
being
the
in a
most
city of
problematic
schools.
elementary schools.
Problematic for sure, broke as hell. Yeah, if you're a CPS student like us three were, we definitely can relate to the show all too well, and it's really funny. Quinta Brunson is a great comedic writer. She's hilarious. She's also the star of the show. Her delivery is very very quick, which I admire about her as a writer as well as an actress. It's super super funny. It's on like I think it's on Hulu and HBO Max. It's super
Yeah.
funny. Again, it's mockumentary style like The Office, like Parks and Rec, but it's very fresh and it's very like the writing is very clever and very like this spot on humor. So I'd recommend Abbott Elementary for my show of the week.
Yeah, agreed. I will say to piggyback off that, firstly, yeah, The Minority Stories is one of my favorite movies. That director Noah Baumbach, he's one of my favorite directors right now. He did an incredible movie with Ben Stiller called Greenberg that also starred Greta Gerwig in like 2010. He also has an amazing movie called what's that movie? It's his first movie with Adam Driver, has Ben Stiller, Naomi Watts. Um,
Oh yeah. Oh man, what's
it's
that?
on the tip of my tongue. While We're Young, 2014. Yeah,
That's
that
a good
was
one. Yeah.
The Squid and the Whale. That's a good one too. Francis Ha. If y'all haven't seen Francis Ha, that's Greta Gerwig's like first movie with him as far as like a co-writer, and she stars in it. And then obviously everybody knows Marriage Story. Um, so yeah, but as far as me, as far as what I will recommend, I would say as far as films, I've been getting back into like old films. So I would say, can I list? Does it have to be one? Is it like the rule?
Uh, well, we usually stick to one. But you can say how many you want to say.
All right, so I'm gonna hit a three.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say one. I highly recommend watching either The Seven Samurai or Injumbo by Akira Kurosawa. That's my dude. Um, the Seven Samurai is actually what inspired Star Wars. So if you like Star Wars, I definitely recommend watching that. It came out, I want to say like 1967, maybe, Japanese film. Um, Secondly, it's a French film called Le Diabolique, which means the diabolical in English. And that is an amazing piece of it's just amazing. Like, it's suspenseful, it's thrilling, it has mystery. That movie was like fun fact, Psycho was made in response to that movie because
Oh really?
Hitchcock, yeah, Hitchcock basically didn't like the comparison that he was getting because they called the man the French Hitchcock. So Hitchcock was like, fuck that. I'm gonna show you actually something. So he made Psycho. Um, and they both had those disclaimers. If you saw Psycho when it came out, at the end of it, it said, "Don't tell anybody about the plot twist. Tell them to come
Uh,
watch it." And same thing with Le Diabolique, which came out, I want to say, a year and a half before Psycho. It was like in French, "Do not tell anybody about this plot twist. Tell them to come see it." So it's just interesting how the two of them are like companion pieces to a degree. And the third one I'd say is it will be a Hitchcock film. I'll say I North by Northwest is one of my favorite Hitchcock movies.
it's
And
a good one.
Cary Grant, like it's something I'm not super big on, like a lot of those older white actors, because I'm just like, it's something kind of weird about them sometimes, like especially given the time period and all that stuff. But like Cary Grant and like Humphrey Bogart too. I fucks with Humphrey Bogart, but Cary Grant, it was something about his like his stature and his delivery of lines and his wit and charisma. It was just like, oh, that's a leading man right there. So I recommend those three films. And as far as what I'm watching, I'm kind of on a sitcom kick right now because I'm actually writing a sitcom. So I've been like studying just a shit ton of sitcoms, and I will say that one that I've been watching like a lot. Well, about a couple months ago, I finished Seinfeld, and that was something for sure. Like that show really is
Yeah.
That
great.
show is that show
Like,
is fucked.
like I see why people complain about the series finale. It is very much like, infamous for sure. But yeah, the writing that Jerry and Larry just do on that show with a lot of other writers, like it's fucking impeccable. Like it really is a masterclass in how to write a sitcom. Um, yeah, I've also been watching The Cosby Show too. It took me a while to start watching that because Bill Cosby, but I was able to realize that like that show exists outside of him as a person,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
that was helpful to separate Cliff Huxtable and the Huxtables from Bill Cosby. Because
Mhm.
once I did that, it was like, oh, this is a staple of like of Black culture, of American culture, of TV culture. So watching that is just like anybody who writes a sitcom, like from the last 25 years, they're gonna tell you they watched the Cosby Show. Like that's
Hmm.
almost just a fact.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
it's just like watching that too was like, wow, like I've seen a lot of these episodes as a child on reruns, but watching them in order, it's like, wow, like you really feel. I love feeling like I'm growing with the characters. I love seeing the evolution of characters, and I just love hearing like dynamic writing and storytelling. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been on lately. Because like I said, I'm working on a sitcom, and I wanted to study the greats.
Man, props to you, my
Mhm.
friend. Writing a
Oh
sitcom, I know
yeah.
I remember being in film school, like they always said the two hardest things to write in film school was comedy and sitcoms.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. Like to be honest, like a lot of the shit that I write dialogue wise is like even if my film's serious as fuck, like there are comedic moments, and I'm always
Yeah.
just very like I have a dark sense of humor. Like I have a light sense and I have a dark sense. Like my humor can
Yeah.
kind of go anywhere, and that's just something that I always think of. Like life isn't just one thing. Like you might be having the shittiest fucking day, and then you see something that makes you laugh. So it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
I'm very particular in it in the sense of like I don't think I'm the funniest fucking person around, but I'm around a lot of funny people and I
Yeah.
can be very funny. So it is the only thing about the sitcom thing is like you kind of have to like really run jokes by people. Like you really need to see what works for the vast majority. And
Mm.
that's the thing where I'm like, okay, like I have basically, and I know we've been talking for a while, so I'm not gonna talk y'all ear off, but I have more or less three shows that I'm like actively working to have like on air in the next 3 to 5 years.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yo, thank you. And like two of them are, let's say, like one of them is like very much like an Atlanta type of vibe in the sense of like if the characters in Atlanta were younger from Chicago,
I like
and
that.
Gang, let's go.
I
yeah,
like
like and it's
that.
and it's like it's still like the surrealism, it's still the like the characters. Most of the characters are black, but there are like a lot of different like colorful characters. It's very dynamic, but they're
Hold
serious, but
on.
it's a very surreal show. And then the next show is a spinoff of that show from one of my favorite characters, and that show was more of like Breaking Bad meets it's like Breaking Bad meets like fucking what's a it's like Breaking Bad, Atlanta, and like like sitcom all kind of meet. Like it's funny, but she's a
That
drug dealer, so it's like real life
okay.
circumstances, but it's still comedic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a drama comedy, and the other one's a comedy drama. And then we get
Okay.
to, and then we have a sitcom, which is just like honestly, that's gonna be the moneymaker. But yeah, the whole point of me saying that is like, yeah, just giving them all three distinct voices is a constant uphill battle because I don't ever want anybody to look at something that I've done and be like, oh, we could tell this is from Maha because it sounds the same. I think the most beautiful thing that an artist can do personally is like when people could look at a bunch of different things and not know your name, but when they look at the credits, they're like, oh, fuck, that's him, that's them, that's her. That is where it's like, wow, like, again, Noah Baumbach, the director we are just talking about, you fucking Meyerowitz story is like, boy, had I not mentioned all those things and you just came across them, like, damn, you might have been watching Mary's story and be like, that name looks familiar. Oh, that's the fucking dude who did the Meyerowitz stories. That's the dude who did such and such. So it's that shit that I like because I love being a chameleon in the sense of we might not know you by name, but when we see your work, it's like, oh shit, I think I know who that is. And that's the shit that I'm striving for. If all my shit could just be like that, I feel like that's a beautiful legacy. Like people don't need to know my name. I mean, I want people to know my name, like household wise, but if a bunch of people just know my work, you cannot like me, you cannot know me by name, but you're indulging in something that I created, and that's all that fucking matters. So yeah.
No, and I give you props, my friend, for trying different things, but also being unique. That you're not sticking to one different genre. I think it's like that's the beauty of like being like a writer is that you can dip your hands into different genres and different kind of like storytelling because you want to like you don't want to be stick to one type of movie like a Marvel movie or this kind of thing where you want to expand like your creativeness and also your ability to tell different stories. Do you have a certain genre that you like to write more than others?
So I always tell people like, because this is always a conversation starter, especially like with like in the dating world, people were like, "Oh, you're a filmmaker. What's your go-to?" I'm like, my go-to honestly is coming of age stories. Like that's my go-to. Because every single thing that I realized I've written has been coming of age. Like this sitcom is coming of age. Like this because they're all in their like late teens, early 20s. The other two shows are teenagers. My first feature film is like a group of teenagers, so it's always like young adults or teenagers in a specific situation, whether it's funny with drama, where it's drama with funny, whether it's just all drama, whether it's an anime, like it's always coming of age. It's always an evolution because we're always evolving. So I love telling those stories because it doesn't pigeonhole the characters because we're supposed to see them grow. And yeah, I think if anything, that's my niche, coming of age stories. That's everything that I'm building upon.
No, I can relate to you all too well, my friend. That's really how I get inspired with those kind of movies, like A Days Confused, or movies like Boyhood, or just movies that like kind of just like you can like relate to a degree, but also you can I don't know, you can see yourself in a story that you can also like, hey, I can do this too, and you can like inflict what you take from your personal life, but also like the ability to tell a different story. You can combine the two to make something kind of unique and very like creative. And it's kind of like the beauty of like why some of them are so good. Of like good community stories makes you reflect, but also inspires you to like tell similar stories of your own, which I think is kind of like why I'm so like kind of used to them. So I'm kind of like thanks to them like so like I rely on them as like good comfort movie, but also like if I want to be inspired to write something, all right, cool, I'll watch this movie like movie like Dope. I love that movie. It's a movie that kind of like inspired me to be a writer when I was in junior in high school, but also like everybody wants some or Days Confused. That like I know these kind of people. I know these kind of stories on my own that I can like mix and match with. So that's awesome, man. I know that you were also about that coming of age life. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Like, one of my go-to movies, me and Doug saw in theaters, and I still love it to this day. And one of my favorite actors of all time, Ben Stiller, uh, right along with Adam Sandler, would be Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Because I've always been that guy that was always in my head. I was quiet, just did what I had to do. I was wherever I was comfortable, and like but I was having like adventures in my head. I was this outgoing person that wanted to do these things, but I kept it in my head because I didn't see myself, I didn't truly see myself doing it. I wanted to be the person to do it, but I never could be that person. That's why I told myself. But then, like seen that movie, and Doug saw it with me, and he knows how much it meant to me. Where it was like, okay, he got out and did it. Like, what we were talking about, like just go and do it. And that movie really spoke to me. And that, was one of my things where, let your imagination, run free, but also grab some of that imagination and put it into your life. You know what I'm saying? So that, like Doug, that, inspires me for when I'm writing, like I let my imagination go free if I'm listening to music or if I'm playing a game or if I'm just chilling in the darkness and something pops in my head, I let it run around and take form, and that really inspires me to, write. So yeah, no, I definitely feel that.
The beauty of writing, man. You're able to tell different stories that you want to tell. I think that's why I think if you stick like our conversation earlier, if you stick with it, man, if you stick with anyone listens, stick with it. You never know what might could happen. And I say, and to your point, Ma, just keep writing. Just keep writing. Keep writing. If you love it, take an hour or a few minutes of your time just to put pen to paper and just hey, I have this idea, write it down because you never know where you may take that story, and also people might want to hear it one day. You just never know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I remember I read Freddie Mercury kept a notebook with him everywhere he went, either him or his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to keep notebooks with me because I journal every day, but typically I just write on my phone. So I'll literally we could be in mid conversation. Like when I tell you I've literally and this might sound kind of wild, but I've been on whole dates before, bro, and thought about dialogue. I'm like, hey, give me 1 second, and I'll pull my phone out and just I'll. I mean, I try to make it quick, but it's been times where I've had people on hold, in person hold, them looking at me. In 10 minutes, I'm just going to town on my phone because the ideas are just coming out. So, sometimes it's just or even just on the train. I don't really take the train, I have a car, luckily, but it's I'll be walking down the street. If I hear something funny, for example, I was in a fucking Jewel the other day. This lady was coming around the corner with the shopping cart and almost hit me, and she was so apologetic, and I was like, cool. And then I know where she screams back, she's like, "Hurry the fuck up, you little bastards, little motherfuckers." And I'm thinking she's talking to I don't know, her boyfriend who she's just not being nice to or whatever. And 4 kids come running behind her. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's how you talking to your kid? But it was just that was just some shit that I was like, I have to put this in one of my surreal shows because you can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
What the? And but that's fun, dark comedy. You're just oh, she's so kind and sweet to you. And then to the kids, just you little mother. I'm like, wow. So yeah, it's just anytime an idea comes out, there really are no such thing as bad ideas because those bad ideas might lead to some good ideas. So
Yeah.
just write as much as you can, bro. Even if it's a 1-sentence dialogue, that shit will really take you places.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. Yeah, I second that. Having the journal, I remember that was I journal every day too. But I remember in college, film school, it was always having my journal of my ideas of a character idea, or you said you're going at a store or going to I don't know, the gas station, something weird happens. Write it down because it's kind of you're kind of saving ammo for later. You're pocketing that ammo for another time. And
Mhm.
Not
again,
gonna
it could
lie,
be
I'm doing that
yeah.
right now. You guys made me think of something.
No, it's again the beauty of storytelling. You take one thing and you can you're able to expand on it, or else you're able to include it in something else. Which is again, that's why I love writing. That's why I think if you stick with it, it really will it'll bring you wonders. But yeah, well, anyway, Maha, my friend, you are always welcome back in the show. Hope you know that we would love to have you back on whenever you want to. So don't be a stranger. Always hop back on if you want to.
Of course, appreciate it. And if anybody, to the folks listen to this, if you want to follow, this young lad here, as in me talking about myself, my Instagram, I don't use Twitter, and it's not even a political thing. I don't really care about the Elon thing currently. It's really just I just don't use Twitter, so I'm not gonna give y'all my Twitter handle. But my Instagram handle is the, as in THE, mind, MIND, of Ma, which is short for Maha. So yeah, the Mind of Ma on Instagram. That's where I do most of my work. You'll start to see my portfolio come in, and yeah, just stay tuned and keep listening to these folks because this is a great fucking show.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
Thank you, good
Joe,
sir.
doing the honors of closing this out this week.
Yeah. Well, you guys know where to follow us. You can follow us on our Instagram, on the podcast Instagram, Midway Avenue Productions. Uh, you'll be able to get access to Doug's personal Instagram through there. I don't know if he wants y'all to follow him or not, but hey, give the boy a
I
follow.
have no,
Don't follow
I have no
me because
shame.
I don't want that. I hardly use that shit. But you can follow me on my Twitch, the OG Cuban Rican, Follow me there. I play games from time to time. I try to do a wide variety, and I just enjoy playing video games. I am the podcast, resident nerd, anime, video games, comic books, you name me, I'm there. Uh, but yeah, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast and, listening to us ramble on and on and on about things we truly love and sometimes hate. And, sometimes we love to hate it. Sometimes we hate to love it. You never really know when you get shit with us. So thank you again so much for being here. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And, spread the word to your friends. Put it on your story. Put it on your Snapchat. Put it on your Twitter. Your fucking,
Subscribe to us, please, on
MySpace.
Spotify. Yeah, bring back
Hotmail.
MySpace.
We are
Bring back
on
MySpace.
we're on Apple. We're on Apple. We're on Apple.
We're
We're
on
on
Spotify.
Spotify. We have our own website. Visit us there. We we got it up and running. We'll eventually be writing reviews. We also have a TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Doug mainly does the reviews after he's out of the movies. He's the face of this. Eventually, you might. Probably not.
We'll hear you. But we don't see you, but we'll hear you.
You
We'll
won't
hear you,
see me,
Joe.
but you'll hear my review of movies eventually. And we have invited Maha to come back if he wants to be a part of the podcast. You're more than welcome. We do this every Thursday. But yeah, thank you again. Saying thank you again for being
And
here.
we'll see you.
Have a
And
great
we'll see you next
weekend.
week.
Stay safe. Love your family. Love your friends. Hate your enemies. Don't kill them though. And kill. You know what you should kill?
We love our enemies.
We love our enemies. Love your enemies. Yeah. Hate your enemies. Hate your
Don't
friends.
speak for all of us, please.
Exactly. Love your enemies. Hate your friends. My bad. Kill your local pedophile. Thank you for being here. You know what I'm saying? Do the world some justice. Again, thank you for being here. Hope to see you next time. Love y'all. Bye.
See you guys next week.